For years, men have tried to understand how to treat a woman by watching movies, following cultural advice, listening to friends' opinions, or repeating phrases that sound nice but do not work. They tried to be kinder, more available, more understanding. And the more they tried to please, the more confused they became by the female response. Not because they were doing too little, but because they were playing a game based on assumptions, not biological reality. Evolutionary psychology made this clear decades ago. Women do not respond to what you think is correct. They respond to what your behavior communicates at an instinctive level. David Buss shows that female preferences are shaped by very specific signals of safety, social competence, and emotional control. Not by excessive effort, not by emotional submission, and definitely not by trying to be approved all the time. The female brain does not reward the man who adapts too much. It responds to the man who sustains structure. The most common mistake of the modern man is to confuse treating well with diminishing himself, believing that avoiding conflict, always agreeing, and placing the woman at the center of his life is proof of maturity. In practice, this activates the opposite of what he expects. Kindness without a backbone becomes weakness. Attention without criteria becomes neediness. And submissive behavior communicates insecurity, not value. Treating well is not pleasing. It is positioning yourself in a way that the female instinct recognizes direction. There is a brutal difference between a polite man and a man with no emotional spine. Science does not reward the second. Treating well, at the level that truly matters, is acting according to predictable mechanisms of human behavior. It is understanding how presence, posture, decisions, and reactions shape how you are felt, not only heard. When you understand this, you stop guessing and you start acting with clarity. In this video, you will see how women truly want to be treated according to what science observes, not what culture romanticizes. Not to manipulate, but to align behavior with reality. Because when you act in a way that is coherent with biology, everything becomes simpler. Less effort, less confusion, more respect, more attraction. Principle 1, clear direction and behavioral leadership. In real interactions, what most disrupts female desire is not lack of affection, it is lack of direction. Jordan Peterson explains that women respond better to men who offer structure, not because they want to be controlled, but because the human emotional system seeks stability. When everything is doubt, when every decision becomes a question, when the man outsources simple choices, something silent breaks. The sense of safety disappears before it even becomes conscious. Behavioral leadership has nothing to do with authoritarianism. It is the ability to decide without anxiety. It is acting without asking for emotional permission at every step. Studies from Harvard University show that the perception of leadership increases both attraction and interpersonal trust. The female brain translates this directly. If he guides the environment naturally, he is reliable. If he hesitates all the time, he transfers emotional weight to her, and that slowly kills desire. The classic mistake of the insecure man is trying to be too democratic where he should be firm. Asking everything, confirming everything, validating every move, that is not respect. It is fear disguised as politeness. Women feel safer when they do not need to take emotional command of the interaction. When the man defines the rhythm, the times, the next steps calmly, he communicates social competence without saying a word. In practice, treating well here means something simple and rare. Making small decisions without seeking approval. Choosing the place, setting the time, guiding the conversation with clarity, keeping firmness without rigidity, presence without aggressiveness. The body feels before the mind understands. Clear direction calms. And when the emotional system is calm, the space for attraction opens naturally. A man with behavioral leadership does not try to impress. He organizes the environment around himself. He does not compete for control. He simply occupies the position of someone who knows where he is going. And this kind of posture does not create negative tension. It creates instinctive trust. Because deep down, treating well is that, reducing emotional noise, sustaining direction, and allowing the woman to relax in the field you are leading. Principle 2, emotional stability under pressure. When tension appears, that is where the game reveals who you really are. Friedrich Nietzsche associated masculine strength with the ability to govern oneself, and that is not abstract philosophy. It is biological reading. Women test emotionally not out of malice, but out of an instinctive need to evaluate resilience, coherence, and self-control. The test does not come announced. It shows up as criticism, provocation, awkward silence, or unexpected disagreement. And the man's response defines everything. Emotional outbursts, excessive justifications, and rushed attempts to please communicate the same message. Lack of backbone. Studies from the University of California show that emotional control is directly linked to perceptions of status. The female brain translates this simply. If he falls apart under pressure, he does not hold when it matters. It is not about winning arguments. It is about not losing your posture. The most common mistake is to confuse emotional expression with authenticity. believing that reacting intensely proves connection. In practice, it transfers instability into the interaction. Emotional stability is not coldness. It is the ability to feel without being governed by impulse, keeping your tone stable when the environment fluctuates, hearing criticism without automatic defense, responding with clarity, not urgency. Treating well, at this level, is offering emotional predictability. It is showing coherence between words and actions, even when pressure increases. The female body feels this before it formulates any thought. When you do not lose yourself, the field organizes around you. Tension stops being a threat and becomes stimulus. And sustained stimulus is one of the pillars of attraction. That is exactly the kind of mastery that separates men who try from men who are naturally respected. And that is why the code of seduction does not teach ready-made lines or social performances. It teaches applied emotional structure, training based on real psychology, female behavior, and the science of attraction, with advanced techniques of posture, communication, and emotional reading that do not appear in common internet videos. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Whoever masters his own state does not need to chase validation. He becomes the stable point that instinct recognizes. Principle 3, healthy emotional tension, neither coldness nor neediness. There is a silent mistake many men make after they learn to be firm and emotionally stable. They confuse control with closure, presence with rigidity, and they slip into territory where everything becomes too predictable. Carl Jung explained that desire is born in the space between what is known and what still needs to be discovered. When that space disappears, interest does not collapse. It simply falls asleep. Excessive comfort activates the social mode, not the sexual one. When everything is given too early, when there is no mystery, when the man becomes fully available and fully readable, the female emotional system relaxes in a way that does not sustain attraction. Studies published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology show that controlled ambiguity increases arousal and interest because it keeps the brain in a state of anticipation. It is not a game. It is neuroscience applied to human behavior. The opposite mistake is also common, thinking that being distant, cold, or inaccessible creates desire by itself. That generates curiosity at first, but breaks connection quickly. Women do not want indifference. They want presence with depth. The balance is sustaining interest without dependence, closeness without total surrender, attention without abandoning yourself. That is where many fail because it requires awareness, not performance. In practice, treating well at this level means alternating attention with your own focus, being present but not revolving around her, sharing but not dumping everything at once, keeping interest without seeking constant confirmation. When you have an organized life, clear objectives, and pleasure outside the interaction, that communicates without speeches. The body feels it. The field changes. Healthy emotional tension does not create anxiety. It creates stimulus. It keeps desire alive because it respects the natural rhythm of attraction. Neither rush nor stagnation, neither neediness nor coldness. A man who understands this principle does not try to hold a woman's attention. He creates an environment where attention wants to remain. Because in the end, treating well is also knowing not to give everything too soon. It is allowing desire to have space to breathe, grow, and deepen. Conclusion: treating well is acting with structure, not with fear. When you observe everything that was said with cold clarity, the answer becomes clear. Women do not want to be treated based on trying, excessive effort, or fear of making mistakes. Science shows something much simpler and, at the same time, more demanding. They respond to clear direction, emotional stability, and balanced emotional tension. These 3 pillars are not isolated techniques. They are the direct reflection of who the man is inside. David Buss shows that female behavior is a continuous reading of signals, not what you promise, but what you sustain. Confident men do not try to decode every mood change, do not panic in the face of tests, and do not reshape their identity to keep attention. They keep posture, they keep rhythm, they keep coherence, and that biologically communicates value silently. Treating well, at this level, has nothing to do with pleasing. It has to do with self-mastery. A man who governs emotions does not explode or beg. A man who offers direction does not outsource decisions out of insecurity. A man who sustains healthy tension does not suffocate or disappear. He positions himself. He chooses. He remains whole inside the interaction, and that creates respect before it creates